المرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. We give thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for bringing us to this moment and for giving us the opportunity to organize such a momentous event. And inshallah, we pray that, Allah be with us and give us the wisdom to be able to gain something from it today, inshallah. So before we move on to our speaker of today, once again, as our father announced, my name is Abdul Wahid Bisiriyu, and I'm going to be your moderator for today. And I'd like to call on one of our fathers in the audience to just give us the opening prayer to commence, to hand over the event today to the hands of Allah to make it easy for us to get on, inshallah. So without further ado, I'd like to call on if our father, Al-Haji Saeed, could please give us the opening dua for the program.
Okay, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much, Abdul Wahid. As Muslims, we always start our programs with prayer like this. We do opening dua. So we call upon Almighty Allah, the one that bestowed knowledge on everybody. We ask him to make it possible for our lecturer for today to do justice to the topic he has selected and make it easy for those of us that will be listening to him to digest information and make it beneficial for him leading us in this lecture and ourselves listening to him. And if it's beneficial for us, that is beneficial for the deen as well and for our community, and make us prosperous Muslims so that we'll continue to prosper on the path of Islam and make a very useful application of whatever knowledge that we're going to acquire from him today. And our daily dealings too, we ask him to continue to be with us, guide us, and continue to order our steps so that we'll continue to be successful in whatever that we lay our hands on. Bismillah surah Fatiha. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladina an'amta alayhim ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Amen. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We thank our father for giving us the opening prayer. Now, without further ado, we move on to the agenda for today. So once again, to those that are just joining us, I welcome you all to this very momentous occasion in the name of Allah and in the way of our Prophet Muhammad by saying, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So as you already know, we're here today to listen to our brother, Rashid Ajibola, to talk to us about his own experience, his own, from the beginning to where he is at the moment, how he's achieved, how he's made it to where he is. And, obviously I will let him to do the introduction by himself. But as we all know, we're here to talk about career prospects within the, science and, science field and tech field as well, whichever one that you like to get into, inshallah. So I'd like to pass on over our speaker for today. So I would advise, listen attentively. If you can, take a notebook and a pen to write some advice down, to write some questions down as well, because just so that you don't forget, I'm sure we will have lots of questions for our speaker today. So without further ado, Brother Rashid Ajibola, please go ahead, introduce yourself, sir, and then, give us the talk that inshallah will benefit from today. Assalamu alaikum.
Perfect. Thank you very much, everyone, and good afternoon, and thank you very much for this time. Hopefully this will be a very, very good, I guess, educational story to who I am, and I think it's focused on me, but this can be you, this can be any of your kids, your brothers, and anything, and anyone you know. And throughout so I have some slides which I'll go through, and throughout my slides, I'll kind of give you a deeper detail into who I am, into what I've done, and into what I've experienced. And the aim of this is to kind of show you that, again, I don't see myself as anyone special. And what I've achieved, I think, I could have achieved something greater, and then it's not the end of the story. But I believe what I've achieved is possible with anyone in this room. And It's not just possible for anyone in this room. It doesn't need to be something that, you know, I've been in this career for a very long time, but it doesn't need to be something that happens overnight. Anyone can start from year zero today, and within 5, you know, or 5, 6, 7, 8 years, you can be where I am very easily. So I'll give you a deeper dive into who I am as I go through my slides. And what I'll do is I'll kind of walk you through, and the aim of this is to talk about the pathway to a successful career. And I'll walk you through all the steps and through a lot of the lessons that I've learned within that as well. So first, I'm going to jump into who I am. I want to start off with just some information about myself, or, you know, what I've done, where I've come from, what motivates me. Then I'll dive into my experiences and what I've learned. and this is my skills in terms of my education, my background. This is also different experiences and things that I've picked up, and especially hard lessons learned. And some of these lessons may seem very, very simple. And these lessons, I guess, are more tailor-made to the younger people, but I still think it applies to maybe anyone at almost any point in life. Then at the end, I will go on a call to action. And the call to action, sorry, let me just hide this. Yeah. The call to action will be for anyone who's interested in jobs or career. And the career doesn't need to necessarily be in tech. The way I see it is that we all have different strengths and different weaknesses. And it's not everyone's destiny to become a CEO.
There's a lot of 2023 contracts, there's 2024 deals. So that's
Sorry, I'm just hearing a bit of background noise. Okay, thank you. So yeah, the call to action is for anyone to start, to give you examples of successful people and what they've done, and then the different paths they've taken. And I really think that we all, and I guess the parents in this room, you probably draw this to your kids, but they haven't learned, and they put it, time really humbles everyone. Time humbles us all. I really view that. But we're all really lucky to be in this country, or to be in the West, or in Europe, wherever you are. The reason why is because there's a lot of opportunity. And you know, sometimes as a kid, you don't really see it, but as you grow up, as you have more responsibilities, you can understand that the opportunity, it's there for the taking. If you go out, if you go for it, if you work hard, sooner or later, you will eventually be rewarded. And within that call to action, I have some examples of men who, and there are women as well, who have done really good things, and even a job opportunity. Again, as I've mentioned, not everyone needs to be CEO. It can be something as simple as plumbing, working with your hands, you know, working with your skill, owning a business, starting a business. There's a lot of power in that. You know, starting a business as one person, expanding to hiring 3, 4, 5, and building your own empire. I feel like all of this is possible. And within the age we live in today, I can be at home in my underwear. I can go online. I can learn a new skill on YouTube. Some of you know, I can take an online course using video, using Zoom. It's very easy for all of us to go and learn some skills, and it's what you make of it. Again, you can make an empire of laying bricks. You can make an empire of starting a restaurant. You can make an empire of being a fashion designer. You can make an empire of working in IT. You know, it is what you make of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into just some background on myself. So again, the first section we'll go through is who am I? And I guess some of you will have similar backgrounds to me, but I wasn't born in the UK. One of the reasons I'll point that out is not to is to kind of show you that, again, you don't need to. You can be from another country. You know, you can come from another country, you know, with not much, and you can make the most out of it. There's so much opportunity in this country, and I'm not saying that as it's, you know, we can all just wake up and do well. And it is hard, and a lot of it is it's time, it's effort. Some of it is luck, and even driven by God as well. You know, you just got to kind of keep at it, and you may feel like you haven't achieved anything, you know, but if you keep at it, if you keep learning new skills, you can look back and say, okay, where I was in 2020 or 2019 and where I am today is different, and that's a great step. English wasn't my first language. You know, I came here not knowing any English. As most of you on the call, we all speak Yoruba or understand Yoruba. You know, so English isn't our first language, and that isn't a disadvantage. You know, it can be a useful skill. I grew up in South London. It's not a case of, you know, I started off with a rich family in a rich part of town, or, you know, I grew up in the community where most of your kids grew up in, you know, from Croydon to Brixton to Stockwell to Vauxhall to Camberwell. You know, we all grown up in similar environments. And growing up in South London, you know, you do compete, and again, I guess as a child, you don't really see that. You don't really, and this is where I said time really does humble you. Time really does teach you. And one of the mantras that I have in my head is, you don't know what you don't know. I mean, growing up as a kid, you don't know what you don't know. You don't know how little you know in this world. And it's only through time, it's only through experience and skills do you learn a lot of things. And my education consisted of Croydon College, even growing up and going to school in Stockwell. I believe the name of that secondary school has changed. From leaving school education, university, I jumped straight into technology, and I'll walk you through my journey. And currently I have about 7+ years of experience in call center or contact center technology. And this is where my role today. So I'm a solutions engineer. So this is where I'll walk you through, you know, some of what I do, what a solutions engineer does, and even what I've been lucky to have been blessed with, to be exposed to in the industry. Being in this industry exposed me to a lot of people, you know, a lot of mentors, and I think this is mainly more. I'll say mainly more towards young men. I think it's gonna. I think men and women have different needs, and I think as a young man, you don't really know anything. You don't really know who you are until you're maybe, even today, you know, you might be 30, 40, you know, 40, might not even know who you are and what you want to be. But I guess most people kind of are set in their way from maybe ages 26, 27, 28. As a young man, 18, 19, 20, you don't know anything. And it's really good. And this is what I'll talk about a bit later on. It's really good to find a mentor, to find somebody, you know, you can learn from, follow from, you can make mistakes from as well. And this is what the 7 years of experience in technology has allowed me to do. I found some good people in my life, and some of these people, again, they didn't owe me anything. You know, they didn't have to help me. But there are a lot of, and this is the great thing, again, going back to being in this country. Not only is there tons of opportunity, but there are a lot of, regardless of sex, age, you know, gender, none of that matters. There are always good people out there, and good people will always be willing to help you as long as they can see that you're hard working, that you want to work for it. And from being exposed to those good people, I have, my job has taken me across the world. I've been you know, in Ireland countless times, Dublin, Galway, in Northern Ireland. It's taken me to France, to Germany, Berlin, Hamburg. It's taken me to Norway, Oslo, countless times, to Poland, Spain, Portugal, Finland. It's taken me to Budapest, Hungary. You know, many other countries that I haven't listed on this. And it's a really nice experience to be in a company where they take you around the world, because you get to see how different people interact. You get to see how the German do business. You get to see how the French do business. You know, and some things that you won't know. I'm sure all of us know, you know, on this call, how Nigerians do business or how Ghanaians do business. You know, but every culture is different, and being able to kind of be exposed to that and gain that experience, make some mistakes, you know, learn some new stuff. And this is what I've been very lucky to have been exposed to. I've gone from working in Vodafone 20 hours a week, making about maybe 18K a year, if not less, to within 5 years, being on about 30, 40K, and then to within the past year, taking a risk. And this is where I'll touch on taking risks as well, because I think for us young people as well, and maybe for me personally, if I was to, for example, lose my job today, I wouldn't be as scared or as nervous as I would have been a couple of years ago. The reason why I say that is there are a lot of us today, maybe we could be working at Tesco, Sainsbury, we could be working, you know, for a tech company, you know, IBM, wherever else. And then you might be doing our day-to-day job, but maybe there's something more we can do. And a lot of us are afraid to take that risk. We're afraid to fail. We're afraid to make a mistake. And if you are afraid of doing that, you miss out on a lot of opportunity and you don't learn. And the one thing that I will say is, trust me when I say no one in this room has made more mistakes than I have. I would say I've made countless amount of mistakes, and it can be painful, but all you can do is learn from those mistakes. And by taking those risks, I was able to double my salary. You know, I'm on 90K a year, and the thing is, a lot of you will see that as, oh my God, that's amazing. I see that as any one of us can easily, everyone in this call can easily, in my view, be on 120K a year, if not more. Any one of us, it's possible. The opportunity is there. It may not be easy, and a lot of it depends on timing, depends on the right place, right time, depends on having certain skills. And for anyone who's older, you may think, oh, I'm too old to learn a new skill, or too old to this, too old for that. To me, garbage. You know, it is never too late. There is someone out there somewhere in some industry who will be in the need of some skill. And if you have the right skill and you're good at it, they will pay you for it. And if they're not paying you for it, someone else will. And this is why I put in this slide about taking risks. You need to know your value and know your worth. And I think that's very good when it comes to sort of building your career. And by challenging myself and by taking these risks, I am where I am today. I'm in the middle of buying my first property on my own, you know, simple steps. But where I am today, I believe this can be achieved by anyone, because, you know, I'm not the fastest, I'm not the strongest, I'm not the smartest person in the room. And to me, if I can do it, I see there's no reason for anyone else can do it. And a lot of it is knowing what you want, being in the right environment to learn, having the right mentors around you, and just going for it. Feel free to ask me any questions if you do, but yeah, I'll continue to my next slide. So today I'm a solutions engineer in TalkDesk, but in terms of my education history, as I've mentioned to you, and one of the things I want to point out, and it's not a case of me putting myself down or put myself up or putting anyone up or down. It's a case of me saying that I see myself as an average person, you know, and I can give you an example of that. I've worked around a lot of smart people. I've worked around people who are, when I say super smart, I mean, people, when you show them something, a new subject, a new application, you know, a new web development page, a new something new they can code. These people you can actually watch them learn it in real time. They can absorb things so fast, and they're super smart. And some of these people, they made it very, very far in life, and a lot of them have not made it far in life. And I guess sometimes it's not about how smart you are. You need to be capable. I think that's the key thing. As long as you're capable, you know, you'll get that opportunity. A lot of smart people out there, they second guess themselves. They get nervous. They don't take risks. You know, they can't speak to people. You know, they haven't got certain skills. Yes, you're smart. Yes, you know certain things, but then can you speak to a customer? You know, can you convey a message to a customer? Can you talk and break down something very complex in a simple way to a customer? And this is what I've seen a lot of people who are very smart not able to do. And a lot of them, some of them have made it very far, and some others have not made it very far. And just to kind of give you a view of my education, as I've mentioned, you know, I didn't come from another, you know, I didn't study in another country in a private school or anything, or I've studied in South London. I went to, you know, normal schools with the normal people, with you know, average grades. I started off in secondary school in Stockwell Park High School, which is now, I believe, Platinum School. A lot of you may live near there or know of it. I went to college, and I did a variety of courses in college. And this is where I want to touch on failure. When I went to college, I chose a variety of courses, from business studies to IT to psychology to English literature. And what happened was, in the first year of college, you choose 4 subjects. And in the second year of college, you kind of narrow down to 1 or 2. And in the first year, I failed. And some of the reason why I failed the first year of college is, and I think it's one thing as well for the parents in the room, you need to understand that when your kids are in secondary school and they're learning, what they're learning is not enough. The way I see it is, when they're in secondary school, they're competing with maybe kids in their neighborhood, you know, kids in their borough. But when they're in college, they're competing with kids across the whole nation. And a lot of these kids may have had advantages that your kids might have not. And that could be extra education, maybe not watching as much TV, maybe doing, you know, maybe being more involved in sports, playing musical instruments. A lot of things can impact the way children learn. And I struggled a bit at college because I thought that the jump from college to from secondary school to college was very big for me. And also I didn't prioritize certain things. You know, I focused more on my part-time work than my education. But, you know, I was there, I gave it a shot, I learned and I made mistakes. And in my second year of college, I transitioned from business, psychology, and English literature to the ICT BTech National Diploma. And within the diploma, I gained a grade of merit. And at that point in my life, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I knew that, you know, IT was something that resonated with me. I understood computers, the internet, applications, you know, at a basic level. And my part-time employment in Vodafone, which I'll get to in a minute. And I think for a young man growing up, I think part-time work is one of the most, like, the best tools to teach a young man about life and to ground him. Going from having no job and going from having a job where you're accountable, where you're responsible, where you have to learn skills, where you have to behave, where you have to conduct yourself in a certain way. It really did teach me a lot of valuable lessons. And looking back, I would have liked to have balanced my work life and my educational life a bit better, but, you know, what happened. The key part of this is that I didn't get the grades I wanted in the first year, and instead of just giving up or walking away, I focused on a specific area where I was good at, and I kept focusing on that, and it led me to university. So after finishing college, I went to Goldsmiths University. Some of you might know of it, some of you might not know of it. Again, this is very, very local in London. It's in Lewisham. The university mainly focused on art and other platforms, but it had a good IT lab as well. And in this university, I had several years of e-commerce, computer security, physical computing. I did computing and information systems. So I left this with not a first grade, but with a grade of 2.2. And within this course, what I really excelled at, what I found I excelled at was I excelled at applications. When it came to computer security and applications, my grades were the best. But when it came to other elements, when it came to, you know, writing, you know, massive essays, and that wasn't my strength. And unfortunately, university that doesn't teach you anything. And what I learned was that a lot of what I had to learn at university, I had to teach myself. And, you know, and I was very, very, what was good is that I like to help others. And I have friends today who, if I hadn't helped them or been part of a group, you know, they may have not passed university. And it's always very good to help others where you can, because those friends today, you know, they are exposed into different environments, different companies. I'm able to network with them. I'm able to learn different bits of information from them. It's always good to help people along the way, because you never know who will end up where in life. And from leaving university, I continued my journey in employment. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to walk you through some of what I learned at my employment in Vodafone. So I used to be a Vodafone sales advisor, and I want to walk you through what I experienced, what I learned, what were the good things and the bad things. And then we'll dive into my more current experience today. Before I do, does anyone have any questions? Cool. So I guess we're going to start off with pre post career. So before my career in computing, if you will, in communications, in technology started, I worked as an advisor in a Vodafone store. I worked in the Croydon store. I worked in the Brixton store, Clapham store, as a Vodafone sales advisor. And this was really good because it exposed me to technology. I loved applications. I loved phones. It exposed me to that, and I was able to develop my skills. And what Vodafone really taught me, and I started off as a sales advisor. I transitioned to a technical advisor because I was more technical than others. And when it came to how I interacted with my customers, how I treated people, I was very polite. I always was very empathetic with my customers. And when it comes to the customer grading you on how well you did, across the region, I scored amongst the highest. to the point where my name was in several Vodafone magazines, and customers used to deliver gifts from me, understanding their pain, understanding what they wanted, and being able to not lose my cool, and being able to look at what's happening, look at the problem, and look at the easiest path that we can do to resolve the problem. And this, I think, is really, really key to where I am today. It's being able to look at different problems, being able to figure out, okay, how can we solve the problem? How can I work with the people around me, even the people that I may not like, to solve that problem? And when it comes into that job, you know, it wasn't just me. I worked as a team, and within a team there were tons of, you know, personalities. You know, some people were very, very strong. Some people were very, very quiet. Some people did listen. Some people didn't listen. And it was a good experience for me to learn how to manage a team, how to train people, in what ways different people learnt. And I guess some of the hard lessons I learned from being in that Vodafone place was, and even this is a lesson that I still try to learn today, was keeping my cool. Imagine this, everyone. You're in a shop. It can be Vodafone, it can be Tesco's, it can be whatever shop. You know, early morning, a customer walks in, they start shouting at you, swearing at you, angry. You know, and this happened a lot. You know, people would come in with massive bills. My bills, you know, my phone bill is £1,000. You know, my phone bill is £2,000. I mean, I at the time I saw phone bills that were, you know, you couldn't even guess the highest phone bill I saw. But dealing with somebody in that desperate situation, dealing with somebody who was emotional, who was very angry, these were skills that I had to learn. You had to learn to grow thick skin. When it first happens, you initially react emotionally. You know, you react the wrong way. You may shout, you may argue. And the reason why I bring this up is because when it comes to my career in technology, and some of you will know this, you may be working, you know, doing something, and somebody sends you a very angry email, or maybe somebody sends something in an email you don't like, and you respond in an angry way. That keeping your cool really does apply to almost any scenario. I had to learn that when that situation happened, maybe it's not the best thing to fire off an angry email. Maybe it's best to wait a day, sleep on it. You know, don't burn that bridge, because maybe you might end up needing that person later on. And I think that some of the experiences that I had at Vodafone helped me to keep my cool and to learn to manage people. One other key thing, and this is still a key lesson that I learned today, is keeping my time and not being late, keeping on time. And I'm just going to make a very, very broad stereotype over here. You know, some of you may agree and disagree, but I think, you know, throughout my life, I've worked with people, again, who are French, who are German, who are Spanish, who are Portuguese, who are Nigerian, who are Ugandan. And I think maybe, you know, as Africans, not all, and maybe as African men, maybe not, I mean, women are more punctual, but we're very bad at timekeeping. And this is what I've noticed. And it's something that I've had to sort of battle with throughout the years. As, you know, if something starts at a certain time, you want to be there 15, 20 minutes before. You don't want to be there just on the dot. And that's really important, especially, you know, in the early days of my career. You know, so I worked in Guildford, and it was an hour and a half drive away, and I was late, and I had to learn how people perceive you, especially when it comes to timekeeping, is very, very important. When your manager, when your CEO, your VP needs to promote someone, a lot of the times the people who get promoted are people who somebody likes. And if somebody doesn't like you, if somebody says, "Oh, this guy, he's always late, he's always no," that can literally be, and you won't even know it, because it will happen behind closed doors. That can literally be what costs you a promotion. And I think that rule, again, to this day, is something that I still try to do, still learn with, is keeping on time, because people do notice that. Also, and I mentioned this point earlier on, one of the lessons I learned was, in my Vodafone experience, I had different people in my teams, different people with very, very strong personalities, people that people that I absolutely hated. I didn't like this person, this guy or girl. I couldn't get along with them. And sometimes, you know, swallowing pride, or just learning to say things a certain way, or just not even saying nothing at all. Sometimes saying nothing at all is very, very powerful. And this can lead to opportunities. You know, someone today may be shouting at you, may be annoying you. You know, you may not want to help them, and tomorrow they may ask for help. They may struggle, and you're like, this guy, he didn't help me last time. He's stressing me all the time. I don't want to help him. And maybe sometimes you should. And what I learned was sometimes putting emotions to the side, helping people who need help can a lot of times it can end up turning enemies into friends. And the reason why that's so important, and this ties into anyone who's young on this call, you're gonna have a lot of friends that maybe your neighbors, your best friend, your someone at school. You have a lot of friends around you. But you're gonna have maybe your 4 or 5 friends who are your 4 or 5 closest friends. And some of those people may not be good guys, Some of them may be bad guys. But what I think is really good is to keep people around you who think the same way. And in that work environment, if someone thinks the same way as you, maybe you don't like them, give them a helping hand. Try and turn that enemy into a friend. The reason why is because I think life ultimately is experience. I think experience is the most powerfulest thing in life. Experience helps you develop skills. You don't know what you don't know. You don't know that you don't know how to, code this or how to manage that or how to de-escalate a situation until it happens to you. And the point I'm making is, someone like me, I've made thousands of mistakes in my life, but let's just say 100 mistakes in my life. But by having a small group of friends around me, having 1 or 2 people who are on the same path of me, instead of me making 100 mistakes, all 3 of us can now make 30 mistakes each and learn from each other. And I think it's really valuable having a strong team around you, a mentor, enemies, maybe even turning friends, maybe even turning some enemies into friends and learning from people. And if you do that, you can people have different skills and different experiences and viewpoints. And by listening to different people, by trying to pick up, something that someone does better than you, that can only help you grow as a person. And a lot of hardships that I had within Vodafone were also around managers. Within that period of time, I had maybe about 10 managers in the space of 5 years. And with the managers and kind of going into enemies and friends, you get managers who don't like you, who want to make your life difficult, who will just keep coming at you. And the best thing to do around that is just to almost absorb it, grow thick skin, and just get the job done. And one thing in my career, so after my career in Vodafone for several years, I progressed from a sales advisor to a tech advisor to an assistant manager. And one thing is, so I left Vodafone in 2014. And one of the reasons why that made me leave Vodafone was I had worked within the environment, trained a team of guys. We smashed target. We worked very well. We all had different personalities, but I was the glue that kept everyone together. And I wanted to progress in my career. I wanted to become a manager. And what happened, and I guarantee everyone in their life will experience this. You're in your job, you want to go to the next level. And instead of the company pushing you to the next level, they hire someone else from outside. And in my scenario, they hired someone else from outside. And it was very, very crushing to my motivation. I lost motivation. I wasn't challenging myself. I wasn't, and it took me several months to kind of get over that hump and just to get back into the flow of things. And a lot of us will experience disappointment in our lifetimes. Nobody owes you success. And sometimes you may work hard, and you may just not get the reward. And this is where it comes to one of the points that I made. One in my slide towards the bottom is if you're on your career path and you feel that you're doing everything right, and you feel that you have the skills and you're not being rewarded, because some of us can be in a job for 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 years, and then you feel like, oh, this job is all I know. Oh, I'm too scared to go outside. Oh, maybe what if I fail? What if I can't do it right? What if I get fired? And I think at some point you have to be willing to leave. If you don't progress, you have to be willing to go elsewhere. If somebody isn't recognizing how good you are, how unique you are, how fantastic your skills are, how you may not think your skills are unique or fantastic, but they probably are. They probably are. If you've been doing a job for several years, you're still doing it. You're probably doing that job because you are good at it. You probably have skills that you may not even see that are skills, and somebody out there will pay you more. And when I couldn't achieve what I wanted to in this career, I then had the courage to go elsewhere. And even when I was jumping from Vodafone to my first real job, Avaya, I was nervous. I wasn't unsure. I didn't know if I could do it, but it gets to a point where you have to take the risk. There's that saying that no risk, no reward. You have to be willing to take that risk and work at it and not be afraid to fail. And if everything works out, you will get that reward. So I jumped from Vodafone, and I guess fun fact, I was saying to you earlier on, you couldn't guess the largest phone bill that I've seen in 1 month. The largest phone bill that I've seen in 1 month was over 10 grand. It was a young man. He went across Africa on his phone, and he came back after a month with a massive bill. But just a nice fun fact that I learned in the industry. So after learning, how to work with people, how to work with teams, how to manage teams, the Vodafone environment was very retail based. I wasn't in an office. I was in a store. I wore just a shirt. We came in, we did our thing. There was no corporate structure around it. The company did have a corporate element, but as a Vodafone advisor, I was never involved in that. I more was in front of customers. After I was promised a promotion and the managers went back on it and they hired someone else, I even had to train that. I had to swallow a lot of pride and actually train that person because I was able to do that role. I took the risk and I left. And then at age 24 in 2014, I joined Avaya. And I learned a lot of life lessons within this space. Around that time, I was very lucky to have, and this is what I said to you about your friends are very important. I was very lucky to have some good friends. And around 2014, I lost a very good close friend of mine. He passed away. He was very ill. And I think that goes to another life lesson. And I'm sure, a lot of the older people here we've all lost mothers, grandmothers, friends, uncles, But for me as a young man, I'd never really lost anyone that someone that I saw, not just as a friend, but as a brother, that close to me. And dealing with that loss and maintaining, keeping focus was a very difficult thing. But I was very lucky, and this person that passed away, he actually, I always tell the story. He actually owed me. He was not well, and I gave him an iPad. I said, we're friends. Don't worry. Don't pay me for it. It's fine. And on his deathbed, he actually left the money of the iPad and then some extra money, a grand's worth, a grand and a bit of money for me. He didn't have to do that, but he did that for me, and I was very lucky because at that time I had some money saved up, but I'd never really bought a suit. My car had some issues. I had to get some things fixed, and I was able to use the money, to help almost prepare myself for entering that role. I jumped from working in a retail store, dealing with customers selling phones, Blackberries, iPhones, to now working in a corporate office. And not only was I working in the corporate office, but this corporate office was in Guildford. This was 30 miles away. So every morning consisted of me driving an hour and a half through Tooting, through New Malden, onto the A3 for those of you who are drivers, through Cobham, through all the way to Guildford. And this kind of goes back into you don't know what you don't know. And I learned some very hard lessons in my first couple of years in Avaya. So I was now in a corporate environment. We're sending emails. We're all in suits. We're on our desk. We have our phones. It's no more loud, noisy environment like Vodafone. It's very, very quiet environment. It's quiet, but people watch you. And going back to you don't know what you don't know and how experience is everything. Even something as simple as learning to tie a tie. The last time I tied a tie was in secondary school. Even something as simple as learning to tie a tie was I found difficult, but there are a lot of videos, online, or that you can learn these things. The reason why I put learning to tie a tie and why that's important is going back into that office experience. Presentation is very important. How you look, how you present yourself is very important. Think of it as if you're going to a wedding, you wouldn't turn up to a wedding in a hoodie. You turn up to a wedding in a suit because the occasion demands. They're almost like unspoken rules. It demands that. The same thing for formal environments. And I had to learn how to dress a certain way, how to behave a certain way, how to talk a certain way. And this is where, for the first 2 years within Avaya, I struggled a lot. You know, for the first, I almost wanted to quit. I was very, very close to quitting. It was a new environment, a different kind of challenge, a more mental challenge. When it came to even writing emails, I learned that even because of phones or texting or technology, my spelling wasn't even that good. You know, and even sending a very formal email, what to say at the beginning, what to say in the middle, what to say in the end, how to not be rude, how to format certain things. This is something that nobody teaches you. And it's a real big shame that no one teaches you this. But this is something that I had to pick up from experience, I had to learn from my managers or from people around me or from online. And when you don't know these things, it can be very, very demotivating. And I guess to those of you starting that early career, when you feel like, you know, the culture is different, I can't do this, I don't have to do that, and you feel like quitting, don't. The longer you're in there, the more you begin to learn, the more you begin to adapt. Experience is everything. The longer you do something, the easier it should be. And I was very lucky a couple of years into this to actually be exposed to a man called Michael Straussman. He was a German man. Michael Straussman became my manager in 2015, 2016. And he was a manager for 2 years. And when he was my manager, I hated him. I hated his guts. When I say I just couldn't stand him. Michael, and if anyone in this room has dealt with Germans are very, very detail orientated. He wants to know what you're doing when you're doing it. He's going to micromanage you. Where were you today? Where were you at 9 a.m.? Where were you at 5 p.m.? What were you doing? Where was that email? How did you do this? He was very, very overbearing, you know, almost like a dad talking down to a son, or like you know, when somebody just is on your case. And I really struggled with that. And it made me dislike him. And Michael, again, somebody who's based in Germany, he wasn't a manager that I saw every day. We had lots of video conferences, and maybe a couple of times a year he'll be in the UK, and when we have physical sessions. Michael didn't have any reason to help me. He didn't have any reason to help anyone. Michael is a workaholic. He loves his job. He's somebody who work on his annual leave. He's off on annual leave, or it's Christmas. He'll be working. He loves his job. And Michael didn't have to help me, but he wants everyone to succeed. He loves the company. He wants the company to succeed. And what I didn't know at the time was that this is where we've all had managers in the past, but most of the time managers are very bad managers or not good managers. I think a good manager should be a mentor. And at the time, I didn't really understand it, but Michael was slowly becoming a mentor to me. What happened was, we started working together. He started micromanaging me. I had to do this, do that. And he told me, whenever I did something wrong, he said, Rashid, it's wrong. This is how you do it. He showed me, what to do. And I felt very, very silly for a long time. I felt like I didn't know anything. And what happened was, after he's been my manager, a year after he's my manager, he sat me down because he had a plan for me. He showed me a PowerPoint of my name, the plan for me, month 1, month 2, month 3, month 4, month 5. I had never seen anyone in my life take this much attention to detail on me and improving my skills. Again, he didn't need to do that. Michael said, Rashid, look at you now and look where you were a year ago. I know I sometimes I can be annoying. I get on your case. I know sometimes we clash, but look at you now. And I sat down and looked through his slides. He had written down everything we'd done. He said, Rashid, you've been to Germany. You've been to France, you've done this, you've presented in front of 200 people. You were in Ireland in front of 100 people. You were in Oxford Circus, in front of 50 people at a conference or a show. You've learned these new skills. You now know how to use APIs. You now know how to use applications. You now know how to present. And Michael was very, very good at presenting, and he had an art to presenting, and a lot of the skills that I picked up around how to present myself, how to structure slides, what to say to people while talking, how to manage customers, I learned from Michael. And after seeing the slides, I realized this guy, who I'd hated this guy for a year, I hate his guts. I realized that this guy had my best interest. I realized that he was right, that where I was a year ago and where I was now was night and day. And I think that really helped transform our relationship. And I really think that man, again, had a lot of influence to where I got to today. And the key point that I wanted to talk about was finding that mentor, building these relationships, finding somebody to shadow, to learn from is a really important thing. And a lot of the things that even Michael taught me today, it's not a case of he taught me some skills and I learned it all straight away. There are still some things that I struggle with today. I mean, even today, when I'm in front of customers, I talk very fast. That's something that I think maybe a lot of us Africans have. You know, we talk very fast. And when I'm dealing with a customer from Qatar, from Dubai, from Germany, from France, they may not be to understand me. And I learned from Michael, you know, how to present, okay, I need to slow down in certain points, maybe speed up in other points. I need to have conversation with the customer. I need to maybe make a joke, banter with the customer. He helped me learn a lot of this and see where I had gaps as a person. And when somebody comes to you and say, you know, person, whoever you are, you're not good at this, you're not good at that, you're not good at that, it can be very, very demotivating to you. And I think if you have somebody in your life, in your career that is doing that to you, don't be put off by it. You know, I think it's a challenge. If someone's saying you're weak in this area, weak in that area, if they micromanage you, it's a challenge. You know, meet the challenge, try to learn those skills and try to improve. And when it comes to my experience within the Avaya, again, I learned a lot of things, you know, a lot around, again, when it comes to emails and burning bridges, not sending angry emails. I had got into an altercation with a man in the US. I had replied with a very, very angry email to this man. I knew who he was, but I didn't know how important he was. A week later, I needed access to a software platform. And the only person that could give me access to that platform was the man that I had berated a week earlier. I tried to go to his left, to his right, above him, below him, and everybody kept pointing me back to this man. And this is when I learned I had to mend the bridge that I had burnt. And it took a lot of time and it took a lot of effort. And when it comes to that corporate environment, people can be very, very sensitive. The best thing is not to react to certain things and to be careful to burn bridges, because you never know, the person that you're berating today could be a manager in 2-3 years' time. You never know where people end up. I was very lucky that working with Michael exposed me to different places, to different people, different countries. I was able to earn a bit more, you know, I was able to learn about, you know, financing a car, financing my first car, learning about the bills that come around that. I think university doesn't teach a lot of men and women lessons about life, about debt, finances, taxes, how to make money. It doesn't teach you that, you know. We all go into this world really, really, really ignorant, and you don't know what you don't know, and life ends up teaching you a lot of these things. But if you have people around you who know these things, who are able to teach it to you beforehand, that will save you a lot of stress. Trust me, you know, that will save you from having to make as many mistakes as I have. And I also think, and this is more aimed at the younger people in this, it's good to have a lot of friends around you, but you need to have the right friends. I think, you know, once you're in your mid-20s, maybe early 30s, you know, you need to have the right people around you, the right mindsets. You may know, you know, Stephen, Michael, Jack, John down the road, and maybe Jack is not a good guy. And I'm not saying, you know, you got to drop all your friends, but I'm saying if you want to be around people who are like-minded, and you even want to be around people who are doing better than you. You know, you want to be around people who are succeeding, because that motivates you. People who are succeeding will be exposed to different people, opportunities, to different things, and they'll be able to help you. They'll be able to teach you things that you don't know. People who aren't doing well can't teach you much, and it sounds really, 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 really bad. But you have to be selfish in a way, because in life you're accountable for you. If you don't succeed in life, if you have this friend dragging you down and getting you into trouble, that's not his fault. That's your fault. And it's learning, you know, what friends do I want to keep close and what people do I want to keep at arm's length. I think that's something that I've learned, and that's something that a lot of people, especially in London, will struggle with. You know, you want to keep those people who are like-minded close by to you. And I mentioned Michael, and one of the things I learned from Michael, and again, COVID has changed a lot around the way we work. You know, everyone's working from home now or on Zoom calls, and you know, when you start your career in technology and IT and communications and APIs as a developer, whatever it is, you'll be thrown into a lot of meetings, a lot of video meetings or physical meetings. People will be talking about very complex problems, platforms, and issues. And sometimes you may feel like, oh, you know, I'm on this call, I'm not contributing. Let me say something smart. Let me try and contribute. Sometimes, and I learned this as well, sometimes if you feel that you're not contributing to something in a call, you might think, oh, everyone thinks that I am dumb. But everyone might think, oh, this guy's smart. He already knows it. That's why he's quiet. And sometimes it's good to say nothing, because if you open your mouth and say the wrong thing without thinking, you're going to show them, you know, that you don't know it. You know, and I think these kind of perceptions, you know, the first impressions, how you say things on a call, how you conduct yourself, you know, how you're dressed on the call, how you know, these things are very, very important, very important. If people like you, if people see you as friendly, if people see you as smart, they'll come to you, they'll lean on you, they'll ask you for help. And if people ask you for help and you help them, they'll say, oh, that guy, yeah, Rashid, oh yeah, he helped me with this thing last time. Oh, he's a really good guy. And when everyone asks about who you are, all they're gonna hear is, yeah, this guy's a really good guy. And when it comes to promoting you, they'll hear, oh yeah, Rashid, he's really helpful. He helped this guy, he's really nice. Oh yeah, I'm gonna promote this guy. That is very, very important for networking and building relationships. And I think another thing that's quite important, maybe, and again, for the older generation, don't feel like it's too late, but using technology is very important. Understanding the power of social media, even LinkedIn. If you haven't got a LinkedIn today, create one. Create a LinkedIn, follow a company, follow people you know, and start adding people and start networking. LinkedIn is a great way to find a job. It's a great way to advertise a job, to network with people, to build a portfolio of your career, and to kind of showcase what you do and what you've learned. I feel if you are struggling to start that career, or if you've started it already, if you're fresh out of university, if you're, you know, in your 40s and just started your business, use LinkedIn. You know, follow people, post certain things, post your achievements. And what I didn't know at the time was Michael, when I first started in his team 2015, made me create a LinkedIn. And I'm not really big on posting things, but Michael made me post a few things over the years. And what I realized was that when I left Avaya in the end, the LinkedIn became almost like a paper trail for all my achievements. So without me even doing anything, I was able to say to anyone, yeah, go on my LinkedIn. Okay, yeah, this is my name. This is what I've done. I worked here, here, and here, and here. These are my posts. I was able to almost show a receipt of my experience. And I think that is very, very important, especially in today. Does anyone have any questions? I mean, has anyone experienced anything similar? And does what I'm saying, does it resonate? You know, or do you think, no, Rashid's talking rubbish? Or, you know, again, feel free to fire any questions at me. Okay, then I guess you must all be enjoying what I'm talking about and what I'm presenting. You must be enjoying it very, very much. So this is good. I'll take the silence as a positive thing. So what I'm going to do next is, again, this is some of what I've learned when I started my career in Avaya as a sales engineer. After working with Michael Stroutman, he helped propel my career, and I went from a sales engineer to being a sales engineer specialist. And my specialist was around something called Avaya Breeze, an application layer. And because of meeting the right people, working with the right people, because of Michael Stroutman's micromanagement, the German guy, this German guy that I'd never known in my life, you know, he didn't need to help me. And it wasn't just Michael Stroutman, it was a guy called Chris Scott. And this is where, like, there's a lot going on today in the news, and you hear a lot about racism. And growing up, you know, one of the things my mom always used to say to me was, oh, Rashid, you need to work twice as hard as you know, as white people, as a white person down the road. And looking back at that, I can say, and I know a lot of parents say that, but I can say, that's wrong. That's wrong. I can clearly say all the mistakes I've made in my life, all the opportunities, all the people I've seen around the world, regardless of color. They can be Indian, they can be black, they can be white, they can be whatever. People are innately good. Even people that, you know, they may be in the middle or upper class, they may not have a different background to us, they may be British or they may, you know, but people want to see other people succeeding, you know. Yes, that sometimes we all have a friend who's needed help, you know, somebody's car broke down or somebody, you know, we've gone in to help the person and it makes us feel good inside for helping that person. But a lot of people are like that. And when it comes to race, to me, your race has nothing to do with where you are in your career. You can hear people on TV say that, yeah, because I'm black, I can't do that. To me, rubbish. What they're saying is absolute nonsense. Throughout my life, all the people who have given me opportunities, even when I didn't deserve opportunities, they've all been white, you know, mixed or Arab, Asian people. And I'm not saying their race to say, oh, white people always give opportunities. No, I'm saying that it doesn't matter. If people would like you, if people want to see you succeed, there's always help out there. And if there's no help out there, keep working hard. If you keep working hard consistently, sooner or later, somebody will see you and see, oh, that guy, he's always working hard. I want him on my team. It's going to happen. You know, it's going to happen. And don't let this talk of race or sex, or don't let that put you down. If you want to be a doctor, if you want to be an engineer, if you want to be, you know, you can be that. You can be that today. You know, you just got to work hard at it. And when it came to this, you know, Michael Stratman, again, this German man who didn't know me, he didn't owe me anything. He lived halfway across the world, poured a lot of time and poured a lot of effort into me and helped me become a brief specialist. I was able to master this specialism. I was able to have an island of my own. I understood the platform, the product, the services. I was able to demonstrate the services to customers, engage different people. The photo to the bottom right was me with Dubai Police in Istanbul. And the photo to the next to that was me in Ireland, talking to Hennessy, the one of the CEOs of Hennessy in Ireland, about upgrading their IT platform. All these people that, you know, that Michael Stratman helped me to be exposed to, it took me around to different places in the world. It allowed me to have different experiences, and ultimately, it helped me to enhance my skills. Before I started in Avaya, I could never present to people. I'll be like, oh, hi everyone, how hi. I could never, I never had the, and it's not even courage. I never had the skill to do that. But now I could jump in front of 50, 100, 200 people. I could, you know, deliver some kind of content or presentation. And a lot of this was through Michael's teachings, as well as through my own learning and my own experiences and my own failings. You know, I failed once, I failed twice, I failed 3 times, but you learn from that. And again, traveling around the world, I think that is such an eye-opening thing. You get to see that the UK is so small. You see that different people do business differently around the world. And it's a really interesting thing to absorb. I even got a chance to work with students, and I worked with students at Leicester College and Leeds Beckett. I worked with students to show them the platform, Avaya's platform, the application. The third photo you're seeing is me in Leeds Beckett University, speaking with students in a lecture hall and showing the students the platform, the video elements, the virtual reality, and talking to young people, talking to them how they can work in tech, how they can seize the opportunity. You know, how if they have certain skills, this is the path you need to go down. Finish your education, create a LinkedIn, apply for jobs, you know, and learn some skills online, learn some skills outside of your specialism. And sooner or later, somebody will pick you up, somebody will catch you, and somebody will teach you and help you learn the skills and hopefully go on a similar path that I went on. So life in Avaya was very good. And I spent, again, 7+ years in Avaya. But unfortunately, I had to leave Avaya a year ago, and I'll walk you through my experience around that. Before I do, does anyone have any questions?
Yes, Brother Rashid, if you could please round up by 3:30, just so that we can give people enough time for questions.
Yes, I'm almost done. Yes.
Okay,
perfect.
Thank you.
Cool. So now I'd learned all these different skills in Avaya. I was very loyal to the company, very, very loyal to the company. And it got to a point where I had excelled, but then the company wasn't rewarding me. And I was very lucky because my hard work, allowed me many, many privileges, like to travel around the world, company car allowance, credit card for the company, a fuel card. There were a lot of benefits to this platform, a lot of benefits that I didn't even know you could even get these kind of benefits. And this is where having somebody championing you, having a mentor and being exposed to different things can really help you achieve and be rewarded in ways that you've never thought you would be. Now, I ended up leaving Avaya a year ago, around this time last year, actually. I had reached a point in my career where I had realized that I was being underpaid. Through LinkedIn, people, you post things on social media, companies always come for you and offer you money, come work for us for 60K, for 70K, for 80K, for 120K. You always think, oh, I can never do that job. Or I'm too scared to do that job. I'm too scared to take the risk. And I was always too scared to take that risk of leaving. And it got to a point where if you're in a job now today and you want to be promoted and you're not promoted, the best thing to do is to try to work within that system. I went to the managers. I said, look, I've done all these different things. What do I need to go to the next level? And they had no answer for me. The reason why they had no answer for me is because I was already on the next level. And one thing a lot of us don't know, and I guess one thing I would advise the younger people in the audience is when you start your career, I would aim to be in a company for maybe 2, maximum 3 years and go to another company. If you're young, in your 20s, you haven't got kids yet, you haven't got too many bills yet, this is the time for you to jump around to different companies and to learn different things. I, at the time, didn't take that experience, that opportunity. I was very loyal to Avaya, but then it got to a point where I realized that Avaya wasn't being loyal to me. The people were very good, but the company as a whole they were not great at promoting people beyond a certain point. I tried to work within the system, to work within the platform, and it got to a point where they were not helping me, and I had to decide, do I want to take this risk? And by taking that risk, by putting myself out there, by redoing my CV, shooting at what I'm doing well, what I'm not doing well, by networking with people around me, with people that I know in the industry, I was able to apply for another job for another company. And this job had a very, very detailed interview process. They'll test you, they'll ask you questions, they'll do this, they'll do that. And one of the things that scared me was I thought that even though I'd gotten to where I'd gotten to, I still didn't know anything. But when I actually began the interview process and then they started asking me all these questions, I realized how easy it was. You think, jumping to another job will be hard. You don't know this or that. But when you actually do it and you're in an interview, you realize how much you've learned, and without even, you may not think it's a skill you have, but it's already ingrained in you. And I saw how easy it was, and how Avaya had taught and given me the skills to go elsewhere. And I had taken that job. And one thing I learned in that process, when you're applying for a job, never apply for the same level you're on. If you're applying for a job, always, even if you're not doing it, always say, yeah, you are doing what your manager is doing. Always apply for one step above. You never want to go into a new job doing the same thing. You want to go into there doing something above you, challenging yourself. And what I did was I aimed for a job almost 2 pegs above where I was at. And now I can see that I can succeed, out of Avaya. But during that process, I was scared. I thought I'm not good enough. I thought my CV was wrong. You get that feeling. But by going through that process and seeing, I was able to master that interview process. I had all the answer in my head. I saw how easy it was for me to jump into that new role. For anyone who is thinking of doing something new and you're not sure, honestly, take the risk. Calculate the risk and reward, and do take it. And what I learned as well was at the time, I had a manager, not Michael anymore. So Michael had transitioned, because Michael was a very good guy. He had been promoted to different roles across Europe. And you really find that all the good people, all the people who want to help you, they get promoted very, very fast because everyone recognizes how good they are. So at the time, I had a different manager, and this manager, he needed me. And again, for those of you who are in a career, who are going above. Sometimes you already have the skill to be doing the role above you, but managers won't let you go. The reason why is because they know that if they lose someone good, it's a bad thing for them. And that isn't the way a good manager should be thinking. A good manager should be wanting everyone to succeed and everyone to be promoted and everyone to move on. And this is when I learned that I had a bad manager, which was Nick at the time. Nick was not a good manager. Nick did a lot of good things, but towards the end, when I wanted to leave, instead of him encouraging me, he tried to make my life difficult. And this is when I saw the dark side of managers. And when a manager wants to make your life difficult, it can be very, very deflating. And anyone who's in this situation, the best thing is to not to react. It's to, especially, if you want to do something, sleep on it. Don't fire that angry email. Manage the people. Don't tell them too much. Don't tell them too little. I had to use all the skills that I had learned throughout the years to navigate that very difficult situation. And by navigating that situation, I've now moved on to my role in TalkDesk. I'm now in a company where the company gives me all the freedom that I have. I've doubled my salary. I'm able to start buying my first house, and I'm trying my best to succeed in this role. And the journey that I've had, as I said to you, anyone can have. It's around finding the right people, being in the right place, taking the right risks, learning how to manage people, not to react. And it can be very, very easy for anyone on this call or anyone's brother, son, their kids to be as successful as I am. And today, I know we're talking about, applications and technology, but what I've learned, and going into my next slide, is succeeding or success is just perception. There are people out there who lay bricks and earn more money than me. Not everyone needs to be a CEO. So what I have here are three men, three friends in my life. All these three men are all succeeding today. From ages 27, 29, 31. And all these three men have taken different career paths. So the first person to the left, Lewis Sparrow, he didn't go to college, he didn't go to university. You don't need to go to college or university to succeed in life, you don't. Lewis took an apprenticeship in college. He learned how to use his hands, he learned how to build things, he worked for British Gas as an apprentice, and now he started his own business. He's now a plumber, a tradesman, a business owner. He's got his own business. He's a sole trader. He has one employee, and he's making as much money as me, or if not even more. When I came to the mosque last time, I spoke to the little kids. I asked them, do you think plumbers make a lot of money? And a lot of them said no. One or two of them said yes, but a lot of them said no. This is where succeeding doesn't mean that you're in a suit or in a tie. Succeeding can also mean, you're in an overall, getting your hands dirty. Lewis is in a spot now where he started his business. He can expand it to 3, 4, 5 people, to a point where he doesn't need to be doing installations anymore. He doesn't need to be fixing boilers anymore. He can just sit back and watch his business grow. University may not be for everyone. There's nothing wrong in learning how to weld, learning how to build something, learning a skill or trade. Something as simple as plumbing. You can go to any city in the world. There will always be a need for plumbers. And if any of you have had a boiler or a sink broken recently, you know how expensive that service is. Lewis can make, with 1 or 2 jobs, he can make £1,000 a day. Not everyone, needs to be a CEO, and that's the one I want to portray to you. The next example over here is Hans. Hans, like me, worked in Vodafone, went into studied IT, but he didn't find his via. He wasn't able to start his career. He found some small companies he worked for, and it didn't work out, and Hans got fired for various reasons. For him, it was the wrong place at the wrong time. Hans also injured his knee. So not only the company that he started working for gave him some opportunities, and then they fired him because the CEO wanted to bring in his son. So Hans was wrongfully fired, and he'd hurt his knee. And at the start of the pandemic, he had a broken knee. He was going to waiting for surgery. He lost his job. And Hans could have stayed at home doing nothing. And he said it was very, very easy for him to just stay at home and do nothing. Everyone's talking about COVID. It's very easy to feel depressed. You know, you feel like you haven't done much. You can't do much. But instead of staying at home and doing nothing, he went online. He applied for job after job after job, asking for my help, asking for my advice. He even said that one of the reasons that he didn't give up was that I was a motivation for him. He wanted to be where I was and beyond. And throughout the 2 years, he had gone to maybe 30, 40 different interviews. No. Oh, we like you. No. And he didn't give up. This time last year, Hans was doing a security job with a broken knee, earning 30K. A year later, he's now earning 83K with 15K bonus, and they pay for his internet at home and his gym, and he has a home office. If he had sat on his ass doing nothing, if he had given up, if he had been afraid to take a risk, he wouldn't be where he is today. Then you have Reese Johnson. Reese came from Avaya, Jamaican guy, very likable. Reese didn't know how to code, how to program. He studied marketing in university. He didn't study IT. Reese then went on his own, online, took some online courses, watched some videos, and started to program, started to teach himself. Years later, Reese is now a better programmer than me, someone who studied IT. The key thing is this: if you don't have the skills, the internet is a powerful place. If I wanted to build an application on an iPhone, I could go on YouTube today and find 5, 6, 100 videos on how to do it very easily. Not only that, but Reese is also a father and a husband. The skills he's learned through life, through his job, has allowed him to learn how to manage his environment, his home environment, how to build a family, and how to succeed in life. Now, here's what I throw it back to you, a call to action to you today. So my colleague, Lewis, the one who's a plumber, he has an open slot for a work experience or for apprenticeship. The guy you're seeing here, this is one of his apprentices. He finished university and went to work for an insurance company. He realized the office job, the office life is not for him. He didn't want to be in an office. He didn't want to be wearing a suit. It just wasn't right for him. He took a risk and he learned with Lewis. Lewis picked him up and taught him skills, trained him on how to do this, how to do that. Lewis then took him on as an apprentice in his company. And the quotes that you're seeing here on the left, these are the quotes from him. He says the job is very challenging, but he's learned a lot. He's more happy with what he's doing now with plumbing than what he was when he was in the office. And this is the key thing for anyone on this call who has a younger sister, brother, or who's looking to start a new career. Lewis has an available slot, an apprentice slot. He's willing to train you, to upskill you, to coach you, to manage you, and to help you learn a new skill. If you want to start a career in tech and technology, that's great. You can start today as well. But if you want to start a career in plumbing, or even experience in this industry, that is also available for you today. I've put inside here his email. If you email him, say, hey, Lewis, I spoke to Rashid, I'm looking for a job or experience, he'll be willing to take you on. So there's no excuse. And if anyone on here is looking for a job in marketing or in IT, feel free to reach out to me. I have other friends in other industries, in very similar industries, who may have, a work experience slot, who may have a free job slot, and I'm willing to reach out. And it may be a no, and it might be a yes, we have this slot for this junior role that you can apply for. You never know. So always feel free to reach out. So I hope you've enjoyed kind of the walkthrough of what I've learned in my career, of what I experienced, of how I got to where I got to, of the hardships that I endured, and also of the successful men around me. And like I said, honestly, you don't know what you don't know, and experience is key. And we're all lucky that we are in this country. There's so much opportunity out there. But I hope this is giving you an idea of how this journey can look like, and of I guess what to do and what not to do. Thank you.
Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. We thank our speaker. You know, definitely, I don't know about anyone else, but you know, I've definitely gained from that. You know, he's talked about a lot. He's talked about life skills. He's talked about career skills. He's talked about like just, you know, doing what you love and what you think is best for you. You don't have to, you know, and pushing yourself beyond your limits as well. So some of the key elements that I gather from there is to never underestimate yourself, never ever sell yourself short, and always push yourself harder. You know, go beyond your limits, like break out of your boundaries. Don't put yourself in a sort of, you know,
Yes.
in a fishbowl. So those are the key elements, which, to be honest, we need throughout your whole life, really. You know,
Yes.
in order to succeed.
You're always learning.
Yes, yes.
And that, honestly, the way you phrased it, that is the message that I wanted to. That is very, very. You don't know how. You may not think that you're good at something. Everyone is good at something, and you don't even need to be the best. You can be okay at it. Somebody out there will need your skill, will need your help. You know, you just need to take the risk, enhance the skill, and just put yourself out there, honestly. And nobody is going to give it to you for free. And God's always watching. God will throw things at you that you can take on. You know, there will be things that will come at you that will be hard, but you just got you have to. You might even fail, and it's okay to fail. You have to just not like Hans did. Hans failed and hurt his leg, but he didn't stop. He still. When I say he had it within 3 months before he had about 20 rejections. Do you know how demotivating it is? But Hans, he's smiling. He just said, "No, do you know what, Rash? I'm gonna just. It's gonna happen. I said, Hans, I know it's gonna happen. Just keep at it. And he saw me succeeding, and that's what inspired him. And when somebody, Abdul, when somebody sees you, that you know you succeeding, that's gonna inspire you. And the thing is, you won't even know it, but that will inspire them to try and succeed as well. It's very, very important.
Yeah, so thank you once again, Brother Rashid Ajibola, for that very inspirational and well-needed talk in our community. So I'd like to open the floor now to our attendees. Again, like I've said in the chat box, if you prefer, I know, you know, like our brothers and some of us may be shy, you know, so you can type your questions in the chat box, or you can raise your hand to ask directly, to pose it directly to our speaker. And whilst we're waiting for that, Brother Rashid, if you could please put your contact details in the chat box, just for anyone that may want to contact you personally for further advice or for career prospects. So, yeah. So while you're doing that, there's actually a couple of questions that's come through. So it's from the same person. So one of them, you may have probably touched on it, maybe, but I think they're asking just for you to maybe emphasize it a little bit more. So one of the question is that what did you look for? What did you, what did you look for, found, or that attracted you to your mentor? So basically, maybe to rephrase, maybe what are the qualities do you reckon that when you're looking for a mentor that you should be looking for, that you can tell that this is a good fit for me, that I can definitely learn and it won't just be a waste of my time?
I think that's a really good question. And I'll say that this is where, like, honestly, life is the biggest teacher. Because I can say this now, but if you'd asked me that in that moment in time, I wouldn't even known, the one, that I needed a mentor, and two, kind of what the benefit of a mentor even is. Now, with the hindsight and looking back at it, honestly, everybody needs a mentor. As a man, you don't really know who you are until you're about 26, 27, 28. You know, early in your career, you're a blank slate. You're very lost, and it's very easy to get lost and to be standing still and to not progress. And I guess what to look for in a mentor is you should be open to helping people. You should be very eager to learn. People, if you're eager to learn and you're actually learning, people notice that. You should always be smiling, always try and get on with people. And people, like people like to work with people that they get on with. And one thing to notice, a good manager, most managers are average managers. They'll say, hello, hi, here's the work, do it. Oh, well done, that's it. That's not a good manager. A good manager will have a plan for you. We'll say, okay, yep, so we're here today. And we'll say, this is what you're doing wrong. That's what you're doing wrong. That's what you're doing wrong. And for me, when I first started working with Michael, He made me present. He made me do a lot of things for, it was 2 days, or it was 6 hours of straight talking. One thing I didn't mention was that within my role as a sales engineer, I used to do workshops in front of people using our software. And these workshops will last for 2-3 days. When you talk for 6 hours straight, it's very, very taxing on the mind. And when you come and it's your first time, it's very easy to make mistakes, say the wrong things. You'll be nervous, your hands will be shaking, you'll be, and what I saw is that Michael had an interest in what I was doing wrong. And it wasn't a case of him saying, oh, Rashid, you did that wrong. Do better. It was a case of, he said, this is what you're doing wrong. Let's have a meeting. Let's sit down. Do you want to know how to do this? Yes, Michael, show me. And it was watching him do it the right way, because he had 30 years of experience. I mean, this is why throughout my whole presentation, I talked about experience. Experience is the most important thing in life. You don't know what you don't know. If it's your first time seeing fire and you put your hand in the fire, and then now the fire burns your hand, you've experienced that pain, but you didn't know beforehand. But now you know, I will not put my hand in the fire again. And it's finding somebody who's willing to pour that experience into you. And sometimes that's luck. And other times, when I didn't have Michael anymore, I found a guy called Chris Scott. I had to go out, sometimes the people come to you who are good mentors. Sometimes you have to go out and find them and say to this person, hey, you're a specialist. You have these skills. I think you're really good. I want to become like you. This is where I think I'm not. Don't just come to them and say, I need help. Come to them with a plan and say, hey, my name's Rashid. I'm not good at this skill or that skill. I don't know how to use this API or this product. I think it's this. I think it's how you do it, but I think I'm not good. And Chris, you're a specialist. Please, can you, what did you do to resolve this? Can you teach me? And most of the time, people won't say no. People who are, especially people who have a skill, they love, teaching somebody else that skill. If they say no to you, they're the wrong person. If they're good at their job and they're passionate about their job, their eyes will light up when you say, show me the way. That's how you know you're talking to the right person.
Thank you very well for answering that question. So people are also asking, I believe you did in your presentation, you did post the email address there, but they're asking about your friend,
Yes.
Luis,
Yes.
if you could post the email or the contact details for him,
I'll
as
do
well
that
as
now.
your contact details as well.
Yeah, I'll do that now.
Yeah. So there's another question as well. Following on some of your talks again about risk taking generally, and the questioner is asking that specifically, maybe, I mean, you've talked about risk as being a key element, within your talk, and they're just asking that what prompted you to take that jump, that risk, maybe more significantly from Vodafone to Averia, in terms of career, moving on, the fears and doubting yourself, that you specifically, throughout your journey, what prompted you to take that risk? What was your motivation for doing so?
I think for the two times where I took the biggest risk in my life, there were different motivations. For the Vodafone one, that one was quite unique. I've been doing the jobs for many years throughout college and university. I built really good friends. I was known as the problem solver, the guy who I was a big fish in a small pond. And I think that is a good thing to a degree, but I also think after a while, you don't want to, I think in life, some people, the best skilled people I've met in life, they all want to keep learning. They all want to keep pushing themselves. And at that time, I wasn't really ambitious. I was happy with being the big fish in the small pond. But then when I thought, oh, okay, maybe I could try to go for this role. And in my head, I had met all the prerequisites. I was promised, if you do this, and you make sure your team hit targets, you'll get it. And in the end, that company didn't fulfill on their promise. I had helped somebody who was an assistant manager become a manager, and they promised to carry me along, and they didn't fulfill it. I first threw around, I had enough, I'm gonna leave. I just said the words. It wasn't real, because ultimately, once you're in something for so long, we're all creatures of habit. We all get scared. We're all, none of us, change is good, but no one likes change. For me, I like to eat certain foods. I like to do certain things in the morning. I like to do this, that. And if it doesn't happen the way I like, I dislike it. I'm like, my day isn't going well. No one likes change. But I think when you're early in that career, you need to realize that sometimes being in the same environment limits you. If I live in the same part of London, if I live in the same household, if I live in the same area, if I work for the same company all my life, I don't know what I don't know. The term "you don't know what you don't know" is so powerful. This is something that I always say. You don't know what you don't know. If you're in a box, you know, and you're only exposed to what's in that box, you never know what's outside the box. And what kind of pushed me to taking the risk was I felt that I could do more, and I felt betrayed as well. I felt betrayed because the company promised me to do something, but then I didn't want to leave on anger. And there was a case where I felt like, no, you know what? I've studied IT. Let me not get comfortable in this. I feel like I can do more. I feel like I deserve more. And it was more of a, let me just try it and see what happens. You know, I was very nervous, but you have to ignore the fear and the voice in your head saying, what if you fail? What if you can't? You have to just ignore it. And even the ability to ignore that voice, that feeling is something that I learned, even in presentations. When I talk to people or present to people, when I first started, I was very nervous. And one of the things Michael told me to do is just whenever he's presenting, just some people will pretend as if everybody in the room is naked, or everyone in the room is their friend. Or whenever I present, I also pretend as if I'm walking in the room full of my friends. And then I remove, the nerves and that. And when it came to applying for that job, I think you just kind of just have to find some way, some technique to just ignore it. And at the time, I didn't realize it, but look at it now. Honestly, the worst you can do in life is not failing. That is not the worst you can do in life. The worst you can do in life is not trying. If you don't make the attempt, you're guaranteed to fail. But if you make the attempt, there's still a small chance, a small 1% chance that you can do it. And sometimes you might not even have the skill for a job, but the person likes you. They like your energy. They like your motivation. And they may just hire you just for that. Again, you never know. You don't know what you don't know. And I think you have to take the risk. You know, you have nothing to lose. That's my view. You either don't get the job or you get the job, and you can choose if you want to go or not. You have nothing to lose. If you don't try, that is you cheating yourself by not trying.
Okay, once again, thank you very much. I know I've sort of been taking it out back and forth. I will let you finish with the details into the chat box as well before I ask the next question. For those that are just joining, again, welcome. As you know, our speaker today, Brother Rashid Ajibola, the topic is exploring, career opportunities in tech and science. And one of the key facts that I gathered, the key message probably for a lot of us younger ones is that to never sell yourself short, to, find something to motivate you, get yourself a mentor, push yourself harder than anyone. Don't compare yourself with anybody. Always work, stay in your lane and work in your own lane, and never underestimate your potential or what you could contribute to a team, in that way. So, and he said as well, which there's a lot of parents I know, well, not a lot, but I know there's quite a few parents on the platform where the Nigerian, mentality is that you have to go to college, you have to go to university, you have to be a doctor, and so on. But we've seen even the UK that we live in, they are shifting from that. They're shifting towards the vocational aspect that, some years ago, degree apprenticeship was not a thing, but it's a very popular thing now that they will sponsor you to your degree as well. So, which is something that key thing that he mentioned, that, and he gave an example of a friend who is a very successful man today, and then they go to university. So again, brother, the next question is that, while again on the issue of taking the risk and taking the jump, that when you took the job, when you changed your job, you moved to another company, how did you get the recommendation in the case of like reference, basically from the manager that didn't want you to leave? Because you mentioned as well.
Yeah. So what I didn't explain, I kind of left it. I was that manager when I first started in Avaya. My first manager was Nick. Then I changed managers twice, and then I hit Michael. And Michael was the manager for the longest amount of time. And I guess Nick, I owed Nick because he was the one who saw me in the interview and hired me. But Nick is not a good manager. And I struggled. One of the reasons I wanted to leave in the first 2 years is because I struggled with Nick. Nick is the kind of manager where once you're upskilled, once you're self-sufficient, once you've reached, you know, level 10, and you don't need any manager, Nick is a good manager for that. But if you're brand new, if you need molding and nurturing, Nick is not the best manager for that. And I also spoke to Michael, and I said, Michael, you're really good at mentoring. Why is that? And I found out Michael, before working in technology, he used to be in the military in Germany. And I guess maybe it's the military, the discipline, the order. I think that's what I was lacking, and that's what he helped, you know, put onto me. And with jumping to that new company and dealing with that manager, it was hard, and in some scenarios I didn't handle it the best way. In other scenarios I handled it very, very well. I think you just gotta keep your head down, and you have to realize, and I think this is what people don't. There's so much things that people don't teach you in life. I mean, even something as simple as if you're in a role today, there's nothing wrong with you looking on that role online somewhere else and seeing how much people are being paid for that role. And there's nothing wrong with you on your CV adding in, not only am I doing A, B, and C, and D, and you may think what you're doing is very, very small, but honestly, I think where people lack is, we may write what we do on the CV, but we don't promote ourselves. You don't say, I do this, this, and this. You don't say, I do this, this, and this, and I'm the best, and I'm the greatest, and I do it, and it achieves this money in revenue or this money in value. You don't really big yourself up. You almost have to see it as, how would you big up your best friend? And you have to have that mentality in yourself. You have to almost, shoot your own horn. And when it comes to the question of managing that, I guess I was very lucky, because all my years of experience had kind of helped me manage that. It was kind of using everything I had learned up to that point to manage dealing with that difficult experience and dealing with Nick. And it was hard because I liked him, but then I realized, and this is ultimately what happens, I realized that even though I was loyal to the company, at the end of the day, I was just a number. You have to be selfish at some point in your life. You have to realize that your manager, he has his mortgage, he has his house, he has his second house, he has his dog, his car. You don't have that. You have to be selfish, and you have to want that. Even if it's not something you want, you have to even pretend you want it, in your own head. And you have to say to yourself, this and what I'm doing isn't working, and it's not going to help me get my house or get my mortgage. And if it's not going to help me get this, you have to know that somewhere out there, someone else is willing to do so. And what I found out was that in the industry, Avaya was paid, because Avaya was a big name in the industry. And I guess this next bit is something that I've learned recently in life, and something that you should all, I think, listen to very carefully. When you work for a big company, they will treat you nice, they will shower your praises, but they will not pay you well. What do I mean by that? Everyone today knows of Apple or Google. You think, oh yes, if I get a job with Apple and Google, I'm going to be a millionaire. If you go to a job with Apple and Google, they will not pay you well. The reason why is because they don't have to. They already have the brand name. You're going there for the privilege of having that name on your CV. And most of the people in Apple and Google who want to be paid really well, what do most of them do? They leave Apple and Google and they go to a small company. They now have the skills of the big company. It might be a level 1 manager in this big company, but in a small company, you may be a level 4 manager, because they need those skills. And that small company will pay you double or even 3 times what that big company will pay you, because your skill is in demand. Does that make sense? And does that help answer the question?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I believe so. It was quite clear, and you definitely delve into it, and it's quite, yeah, it's a lot that one has to deal with. But once again, thank you. I have a question that, in terms of, because you mentioned your friend, Reese, who didn't study IT at the university, and is now a coder developer, and obviously you did IT. And I know you said that you don't need a university degree and so on, you can. And with Reese went online, did it himself. But some people, as you probably may have found in your own journey, that some people would always feel that shy to never ever go out there to ask or never ever question anything. They always just do their own thing. And some
Mhm.
people, they waste time doing like the wrong thing and so on. So in terms of getting into the tech industry, are there certain maybe certifications or maybe certain things or maybe certain levels that you can start with within the IT sector that you feel will be relevant for anyone that wants to get into IT or tech to start with?
So I think just before I answer, I think on the degree piece on do I value degree or even university? I think if you ask me, you're gonna get maybe not a positive response. I think for me, university and degree is just a paper, it's a tool. Everybody has that paper. You go to university, and I think a lot of parents think, oh, my kid goes to university, he's going to be smart. University doesn't make you smart. Or university can help those who are smart get access to different tools and capabilities and learn more, but it doesn't make you smart. It doesn't teach you anything. Not only that, but, and one thing as well, I think for the parents in the room, you need to understand as well, and I know I'm not answering the question, but you've kind of made me think about other things. You need to understand that when the child goes to university, they're in debt. And the student loan debt, it's like a tax for the rest of your life. And only those of us who sees the money that student loan chops every month, that, it was a good thing and it helped me. I will not lie, it helped me, but I don't see too much value in it. And you need to understand that when someone goes to university now, the course is 9K. If I learn plumbing, it's 9K. Or not plumbing, but if I learn engineering, it's 9K. If I learn fashion, it's 9K. If I learn business studies, it's 9K. But then somebody who finishes university and goes to fashion, they may only get paid 40, 50K, but then they'll be in the same debt as somebody who's an engineer earning 150K. It doesn't make sense. And there's nothing wrong with doing apprenticeships, even getting outside certifications online, outside skills. There are MVQs, there are all kinds of certifications that you can go on a 3 months course, a 6 months course online and get that certificate. And people do value that. People do see that. For someone, so in my industry, and what I've noticed as well is a lot of the older school boys, a lot of them didn't go to university, or maybe the company took them on as a graduate. Even a girl who started in an industry maybe 3-4 months ago, because the industry is very, very hungry for women to join in there. She studied geology in university, studied rocks, geology. But she applied for the job and she had a good speaking skills and good presentation, and they hired her. With her, she wasn't technical. And you can be in IT and you can be non-technical. It sounds really, you have to understand that within the world of IT, ultimately we're selling something complex to customers. And some of our customers understand how complex it is and we can talk technology to them. But someone who's a CEO or a CFO, he doesn't need to know about the ones and zeros or the applications or the Java. He doesn't need to know about that. You need to speak to him like a human. And some people, like her name was Kim, she studied geology, but she had good people skills. She had a very, very soft voice, a very, very slow speaker. She got the job because she had very good skills around that. And slowly she learned some of the technology. There are people with marketing degrees, geology degrees, engineering degrees who came into IT. It's possible for anyone, just apply for it. For anyone looking to start now, it depends on where you are in life. If you finish university, honestly, you need to go online, LinkedIn, read.com, any kind of CV recruitment sites. You need to be logged into all of them. You need to do your CV, double check it, triple check it, get someone else to check it, look at someone else's CV, enhance it, make it better. You need to apply. If you're finishing university, today, your job, your role should be applying for a job a day or 2 jobs a day, minimum. And sooner or later, somebody will find you. And if somebody isn't finding you, ask your friends, ask your family, get experience somewhere else in the meantime. Take an online course to get more skills, build some applications, work for a business, do some volunteering if you have to. It's open there. For someone who's older and maybe you want to segue into IT, I think a lot of it can be luck, but to me, it depends on what you want to do. It depends on what you mean by IT. Because you may want to work for company A, but then life always takes it down different paths. I think if you do want to start somewhere, first, I think you need to find somebody, in the industry, learn from them how they got into it, what they did. You need to network find friends of friends. You need to speak to people. You need to go to places like LinkedIn, create a profile for yourself, build a profile, start following companies, applying for companies. You need to just, to me, it's you need to apply, but you need to throw yourself out there a lot more. And I think networking is really key when you're older as well. If you know somebody, they'll be more willing to give you a chance since you're older. But some of it is just luck, and you just got to pray on it as well. Use all the tools around you. There are tons of CV building sites, there are tons of apprenticeship sites, there are tons of self-learning sites, there are tons of places where you can volunteer for jobs to get the experience. And another thing as well, I'm not saying you should lie, but what I'm saying is you may think what you've done in the company is small. I manage the team. That's on your CV. Maybe you want to phrase that in a different way. I manage an enterprise team. I manage a divisional team. I manage a team that, sometimes it can be also how we put ourselves out there as well. That can affect the way people pick us or want to engage us as well. I think it's a combination of things, and I think there's a lot of tools out there that can help you.
Yeah, very well said and answered there. Thank you very much once again. So we have a few more questions, and there's two questions from my brother, which I will ask together because it's related. And second one is actually quite related to what you just said. So they're asking that as a Prince 2 practitioner, with no background in IT, is there any prospect or are there any opportunities for them within the IT industry? And the second one is they're asking that based on what you just said, that as an adult, if you want to transition into there, or maybe not necessarily adult, just anyone you want to transition into IT, that can you recommend a starting point, or can you recommend anyone, that you may know? I think that's what they're asking.
So on that, so I have a small group of friends. Myself and Hans were doing very well. Now, a year ago, when I jumped from Avaya to TalkDesk, my current company, they had some roles available, some because they're a small startup company and they're growing. They're based in the US and they're growing their team in the UK. So they didn't have a lot of people, and small startup companies, they're very hungry to take people on because they're small. They need the boots on the ground. They're more willing to take a risk and hire people. And I have a friend of mine his name is Dagmawi. He's an Ethiopian friend of mine. He's smart with technology, but he's worked in Vodafone and CEX, and now he works in the job center. And he thinks that he hasn't made it in life. He thinks that he struggled, but what he doesn't realize, and then I think the rules are different for men and women, but I think as a man, from what I've learned in life, as a man, you have until you're 40 to make it. And until you're 40, it's very easy. After you're 40, it's hard, but it's still possible. The reason why I say that is a lot of people who haven't made it to where they want to be in life, they may be 30, they think, oh, they can't do it, or, And I said to Dags, they have a job here, demo engineering, you need programming skills, you need all these skills, and it scared him. He said, Rashid, I haven't got these skills, I can't, I said, you have the right people skills, apply for the job. He didn't apply for the job. A year later, he saw that Hans took the risk, and now he's kicking himself that he didn't apply for that job. Even if you think you can't do the job, you haven't got to apply for it anyway. Go on an interview, do your research, learn about the industry, learn the keywords, the jargon, learn what they'll expect. Use LinkedIn, go on Glassdoor. If you find a company, message people in that company and say, hi, I'm looking to apply for a company. Do you have advice? What is it like working for this company? Go on glassdoor.com and review that company. Do your research. Go on YouTube, learn the skills, learn the phrases. You need to go to a trade show in London, you go there and do that research and then use those skills in that interview. And the worst thing you can do is fail. But then maybe you might surprise yourself and they might think, oh, this guy doesn't have the experience, but I think he has the right speaking skills, he has the right memory skills, the knowledge skills. And to the person who's a practitioner, you may be good at talking to people. You may be quite technically knowledgeable. You may understand how to use the internet, social media. Some of these skills can transition into almost any industry. Because I work in IT doesn't mean that everybody is coding and making applications. I'm very lucky that my role is hybrid role. I am half sales, which means I speak to customers, I talk the talk, and I'm half technical. I'm a mixture of both. And I think almost any one of us can go for that. Even Hans went for a customer success manager role. It's understanding the customer's needs, building a plan for them and how they can improve that. And a lot of this is knowledge in the industry. But the key thing is that when you start those roles, even if you haven't got the skills, they're going to end up training you anyway. And the biggest teacher is time, is experience. The longer you're in that role, the more you'll be able to do it. And my view on it is, if the role has 10 points and you can do maybe 6 out of 10, you can apply for that. From what I've seen in most companies, most people who are just making it by, most people, there's a rule called Pareto law, Pareto rule. What that rule says is that when you're in a company, 7 out of 10, 70-30, it means that 30% of the people in the company are doing 70% of the work. And that rule is true. It's so true. And that rule gives you an opportunity. It gives you an opportunity to get your foot in the door. And how you do that, again, apply. If my CV, if I have my skills and I put it down on paper, and my skills is more tailor-made to medicine, and I want to go for IT, maybe I want to rephrase certain things. I want to talk less about medicine. I talk about the structure of things or technology that I've used, or CRMs or different platforms. You want to know your audience. You want to tailor make your CV to that audience. You want to understand their jargon, their phrases, and you want to show them that I know what you say in your industry, and I'm going to demonstrate that within this here. And there are many websites and services that you can sign up for that are free. I think like one of them is, I think it's Clubhouse, where they can help you. People can show you how to structure your CV or how to learn certain things. They can help you with that. I think the help is out there. It's hard. It's not going to be easy. And I think if it was easy, you should also be scared. One of the things, the word easy come, easy go is very, very true in life. Everything that I've earned that has come to me very easily has always gone very easily. But everything that I have fought for, that I've clawed my way for, I've held on to firmly. So I think first step is using the tools online, speaking to friends, asking people, and with myself, my company right at the moment. And what I think to you about targeting small companies, targeting startups, growth companies, I think that is a great way to get your foot in the door. Because growth companies, some of them will be looking for experience. Some of them might be willing to take the risk on someone who hasn't got that experience. And maybe even looking for junior or graduate roles or introductory roles as well is a great start. But just know that you're competing against everyone else. And this is why it's not easy. And I think with that, you got to give things time. I mean, some people will just apply and get a job straight away, but I think a lot of things come with time. And you have to make a mistake over and over again. And if you do go on a job interview and you make the mistake, try and make sure they give you feedback. Sometimes they won't, but try and make sure you get, what did I do wrong? Please let me know what I did wrong. Message them on Facebook or LinkedIn, or, hey, oh, hi, I know they get a job, but yeah, I like to improve my skills. And ask them where, and whatever they say, even if you think they're wrong, take it to heart and try to see if you can change that as well.
Thank you, Brother Rashid. Thank you very much once again. So just last 2 questions for the day that we're going to ask, because we are mindful of time. So one of the questions, I feel you've probably answered, and because of the length that it may take, I may advise the person to contact you personally. They're asking about, are there any apprenticeship or work experience for software engineering, which I believe you've sort of briefly answered.
So my company, so because so this time last year, yes, there were a few. As of today, there's a slight freeze because our team has grown from 200 to 2,000 in a year, which is just insane. I think in maybe May, there may be some roles for what they call demo engineer, which is you demonstrate the platform, you learn the software, and you demonstrate to the customer. And that one is really good because it exposes you to the software. It lets you learn from that. But that role may be Spain, but UK based. So they may transfer it from Spain to UK because it's a global company. I'll keep an eye out and I'll let you know. This is me personally. I'll ask my friends. I think I do have a marketing role from a friend of mine, from my girlfriend as well. So I'll ask, if you let me know what kind of job you're looking for, I'll see if it's possible. If I can't find anything, I'll say, again, social media is your friend. Go online, create a LinkedIn, follow companies you like. You know, if you like Google, Amazon, go for that. Apply for the role. You may not hear anything back, but then recruiters will start speaking to you on LinkedIn and saying, "Oh, okay, I can see you're applying for these roles. Tell me more about yourself." Then message recruiters, recruiting companies, go to them directly and say, "Hey, recruiter, my name is, I'm looking for a job in IT. Can you advise me? Do you know any roles?" And they might tell you to go away. They might not reply, or they might reply and say, "Oh, I got some roles for you. It's not really right, but let me keep an eye out for you. If I see anything, I'll throw it your way." I think you need to use the tools around you to network.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I would advise the brother that asked, or anyone else, contact brother Rashid directly, because there will be much more he could probably provide that he may not be able to share on this platform. And lastly, brother Rashid, for today. So someone is asking, what it is that you do, So I think they want to get like a feel of what a solution engineer does. So if you could give us like maybe in a few seconds, a typical day for a solution engineer in the office.
So the term solutions engineer, and it can also be so my role is enterprise solutions engineer, which means I deal with small companies like a car dealership, a small council, or large companies like Just Eat, BMW, or and much more. These companies can be global with 2,000, 5,000 plus employees. As a solutions engineer, you're in a hybrid role. You're both sales and technical. The sales side is engaging customers, understanding how to manage an account, how to provide support for an account, how to present in front of a customer, how to find information, how to deliver presentations, demonstrations, trade shows, how to learn the product and say, "Customer, this is how it works, this is how you use it, this button does that, this is how it benefits your business." The technical side is, how does it work, but how would it work for the customer? Customer, you have network A, B, C, and D, and your network needs to be upgraded with this so that it works with our platform. Our platform lives in the cloud in AWS. Here's all our security. Here's how the data moves from A to B. Here's how we integrate into your CRM. These are all our APIs. I can show you an example of the API, how it works. It's a combination of both. I work with account managers who are they are the parent of the account. They go to the meetings, they go for the coffees, they go for the calls, and they speak to the customer directly. My job is to be the technical resource for that account manager. So we're in a meeting with the customer, and the customer will have the CEO, the CFO, and the account manager and the IT team. My account manager will speak to the CEO because they're both sales. He can say, "Yes, numbers, NPS, customer satisfaction, your revenue numbers." He can talk all the sales stuff to him. But my account manager can't talk well to the IT guy. That CEO relies on that IT guy. That IT guy is his number one guy. The IT guy will say, "Don't buy this product, it's wrong." My job is to work with my account manager to talk to the IT guy. I can talk technical to him and sales to the CEO. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you once again for your time. It's been a very inspirational talk. So I'd like to pass on to the General Secretary of CNMO now, Brother Saeed Jimoh, to make a 1 or 2 contribution.
Jazakumullah khairan, Brother Wahid. Thank you very much. And Brother Rashid, thank you very much also. Really appreciate the time today. I just want to make some additional comment. You've done a fantastic job, and maybe to just enliven people's spirit, motivate them the more with what you have said. I came across one quote, but I've forgotten. It's on LinkedIn. It talks about your worth in your organization. People don't know most times. So the formula the guy gave us was that multiply your salary you are earning now by 3. That is your worth to your organization, because you mentioned something about worth last time. So that's simple way of doing that. Then again, you mentioned trying to tailor your CV to meet what the requirements are on the job you're looking at. One of the training that I attended recently, senior managers training, we came across something called, everybody knows it, imposter syndrome, as well as Drucker Cronin. So there's a plot. You need to be in between that. A lot of us were guilty of imposter syndrome. We always say, "Oh, I'm not good enough. I can't do that. I don't want that." But Drucker Cronin is a case whereby the opposite side, somebody overblowing his or her trumpet, "I'm very good. So what you're saying is try to find a balance between the two
Yes, both, yes.
and present yourself that way.
Yes,
Then the thing I want to mention for the people that you say maybe they're above 40 and they're thinking, I can't do that anymore, or things like that. I have a story. Somebody was 59 and is interested in Azure. So when he was 59, that's when he started. He started pounding. He got the certification. And lo and behold, when he became 61, he got his opportunity.
There you go.
To work. All right. And the last one I want to leave everybody with is here. Although we are Muslims, everybody talks about we need to be close to Almighty Allah, our ibadat, all that. We mustn't forget that we have responsibilities too, to take care of. So therefore, in whatever place we are working, we need to make sure that we aim for the highest. The first, our progenies, people that accepted Islam, they were not lazy. In the history, if you go back, you see what Muslims they've achieved in science and engineering. You talk about Algebrais, Ajabir, and talk about many things I can mention. So Muslims are not lazy people. They're very proactive and they are highly motivated. So the last I want to leave with us, like I said earlier, is there are 2 books that we recommend. They don't have too many pages. If you're looking for mentors, you can't find physical mentor. Look for the book called Take Charge of Your Destiny. It's by Jim Donovan. It's an old book. You can even get it for free on the internet. So it's called Take Charge of Your Destiny. Another one, which I can't recommend enough, even on YouTube is recorded, is called Magic of Believing. Magic of Believing. How to believe in yourself. Start believing what you want to become. Pick that mental picture in your head and every day think about it, pray to Allah, and Allah will guide you to what you want. So that's my contribution to what you have said, my brother. And I pray Allah continue to guide you in what you do. Because what you have just done is you have a knowledge and you are transmitting it. So as he's going out now, people will move to another one. My sister, Alaja Kausara, is reminding me again, which I've recommended to her before. Another one is called Who Moved My Cheese? Who Moved My Cheese? That book, Serena Williams, when she lost her title, she was down. She doesn't know where to go again. She picked that book and read it. The rest is history. So these books, they can work magic. Do your ibadat, be good Muslims, but because we are Muslims does not mean we should not achieve success in this life too. So please, let us take what our brother has said, take them on board. And then I pray Allah continue to guide our steps. And our brother that has come to deliver this today to repay Allah. Somebody is saying I should list the book. I'll list them. Amir, thank you very much. Amir, we are conscious of time. I don't know if you want to drop 1 or 2 comments before we end the program. I'm just conscious it's 1 minute that we have. I'm sorry. Amir is here too. I want him to just say 1 or 2 things. Abdul Rashid. Amir.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you, Abdul Rashid, and everybody there that joins us on this particular program. It's very motivating, very inspirational. Alhamdulillah, we have people like you around us. Alhamdulillah for that. I can't say more than to say thank you to you, and keep on doing what you are doing, and keep on encouraging the youth in our community, and even not only the youth, even the elders also benefit from it. Brother Rashid have just mentioned someone who's 59 and end up having an opportunity at 61. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.
It's possible.
We're proud of you. We appreciate you. Continue doing the good work. Abdul Wahid, I can see you there. Thank you once again for being there for us and for the rest of the youth. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So we're pressed for time. If I could call on Imam Adi Agbo to please give us the closing prayer. Once again, we take our brother Abdul Rashid for today's talk, for his time, and for really going through that. It takes a lot to go through your background and to tell us all that. So we thank you, and may Allah bless you and reward you and continue to to take you to higher places. So Imam Adi Agbo, please give us the closing dua.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
الحمد لله الذي لم يتخذ ولدا ولم يكن له شريك في الملك ولم يكن له ولي من الذل وكبر تكبيرا سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العظيم. All praises due to Allah, the Lord of the world. And we thank, may the peace and blessing of Allah be upon the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And we thank our presenter, Brother Abdul Rashid Ajibala, and as well, Brother that anchored the program, Brother Abdul Wahid, and everybody from Amir Danting to all what Brother Rashid said, we should put it on board. And may Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue guiding us to this right path and make the information we have today that is lost from the Muslim, and then we find it at cheaper rate, and then may it be benefit to every one of us. And may Almighty Allah guide us to the right path. And then Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Rabbana atina fi dunya hasanatan wa fil akhirati hasanatan wa qina azaban nar. Tawaffana muslimina wa alikna bis salihin. Ya Aziz, Ya Ghafar, Ya Rabbal Alamin. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. Wassalamun ala al-mursalin. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Thank you very much, sir. And